Now, spoiler alert for anyone who did not watch Friday's episode. But we've got an off season to get through today. And with that, let's get the music rocking and rolling because it's going to be rolling on through the entirety of today as we head in to our final off season here of the Kent State series. And on top of that, I did announce in yesterday's stream, in case you guys missed the Emeka KO Day Road to Glory stream yesterday, we'll be starting a new mini series come next Saturday. On Wednesday, we will have a masterclass episode coming your way, and that's going to be a bit about defense and coverages. So make sure you're ready for that. But obviously today, one last off season, and that is, again, spoiler alert, coming off a second national championship win. And this was a team that I definitely felt could get the job done. Obviously, Nate Maddox returned for this season. And this season, we were finally able to give him what he returned for after a fantastic red shirt junior year, which saw him win a bunch of awards, a Heisman. This year, he didn't really win any of those awards. But ultimately, he got that national championship ring, and I imagine he and plenty others will be headed to the NFL here today. That does leave us a hole at running back. What our plan is going to be is kind of going to unfold as we move forward. Do any of our guys potentially want out? Deal breaker is looking good for Devin Naylor. Does he finally get that starting spot? Looks like Bruce Scales is on his way out the door, so we're definitely going to need to bring in some running back help. We do have a younger receiving core, though Theory will be graduating. Eagles, Sternberger, did they do enough this year for one more starting spot next year? What is that final year? And I want a repeat. I want the Natty and I want the Big Ten title. That is something we haven't done in the same season yet. Tight end wise, we did bring in and already have the commit of a really good looking tight end out of high school. So I don't think we're going to push more for tight end. Unless, surprisingly, one of these guys ends up leaving, which I don't think is going to happen. We're going to look pretty good there. Offensive line-wise, we are young, and these players should just be getting better, though it does look like Paul Browning might be out the door, even though I believe he was actually in the starting spot for us this year. But we got a lot of other talent. Again, I don't think it's going to be a big push, though Rico Matlock, our starting center, might be out the door, with that deal breaker not quite hitting his play style. And on top of that, the backup guy is also potentially out the door. So we may still have to bring in a lineman or so. And Stoshlinski, probably another man who will be headed to the NFL. When it comes to the defensive side, Wake and Kakaha will finally be graduating. We do have some potential talent behind a power rusher and a run stopper. So that's going to be good for our splits of base versus rush. And then on the other side, Hochstein, I mean, he could potentially be looking to go to the NFL as well. You only need 3 years. He had his freshman, redshirt freshman, and sophomore redshirt season, so he could be out the door. We still have Steve Lee. Doesn't quite look like he's going to look to leave. We just met that deal breaker, so we may have some potential starters here, plus some really good young guys not looking to leave. Allen Hyman should be returning for his senior year. I don't imagine it's the case with him being an 85 that he would look to leave early. And of course, we got to talk about the legend here, Matthew Gage. What a freshman season. We're going to go over all the stats here shortly as well. But there were requests. Pepper Jackhawk Studios talking about we might need to take a look at Florida's team in the transfer portal, see if maybe some of their young developing defensive tackles are out the door too, because while Hyman played well in the run defense, he's not much of that pass rusher, and Blunt really didn't have that good of a year. Riggins is again more of that run stopper, so unless there's something like Julius Christ taking a really big jump with that 80 power moves already, we might need another option as that rush DT, because again, we just didn't see much here from Jaden Blunt, though he also had a great freshman campaign. Anthony Butts could be back into a potential starting spot depending on his development. There's a lot of other linebacker talent around. I can only imagine with the year that Jake Kaminsky had, which is why he was included in the thumbnail, that he too will be out the door, headed to the NFL. it is still possible he does return. If that is the case, and that's great news for us because we're going to have plenty of other linebackers here we can move around. Doesn't look like any of them are initially looking to transfer. Bond will be graduating, probably NFL. Matson will be graduating, doubt NFL. We're going to have a couple guys down the line as well, but still plenty of talent here. I'm not worried about linebacker whatsoever. Corner, however, that's going to be a little bit of a bigger concern for me. Just because Hatchett is graduating, probably NFL. Christic is graduating. If this was real life, he would not be headed anywhere in the draft. Maybe a practice squad or UDFA training camp invite, a rookie camp invite, whatever they call it. Maybe, but with how he played this year, I think he ripped apart his entire prospect build. I think he would actually struggle to make it even in Canadian football with how he finished. Neighbors should be returning. I doubt he is going to be graduating, and we've got a lot, or headed to the NFL, I should say. And there is a good amount of other backups we have behind, but we just haven't seen a lot of good development from these corners that we've brought in. So, slight concern there. Barno could look to go to the NFL as a redshirt junior. He's at that 88 overall. I still think a 6th, 7th rounder might fit him if that's the case. Duggar's also graduating, so we kind of don't have that exact next man up. We haven't seen anything from Hugh Adai. At strong safety, 4-year starter Derek Ziman is graduating, and unfortunately, I don't think he will be headed to the NFL. He didn't make any pop plays, but he was a solid strong safety for us throughout his time here. We have potential starting replacements for him, primarily an Abrams, who has seen a little bit of some playing time, and he's not looking to transfer, which is good news. Celeste Yee will be graduating, and we already had his replacement on roster that we redshirted. He's not looking to transfer. We will need to find a punter. I will probably forget that, and we'll have a walk-up, if I'm being honest. But that is what the initial look is, well, looking like here after our national championship season. And again, we'll touch on these stats, and then we're going to get into it, just letting things kind of open up here. Hope everyone's having a great Monday. Del Griffin, the redshirt freshman. Honestly, I got to say a pretty solid season from him. I'm pretty happy with what he did for us. 67% is really not that bad. Eli Pringle will be graduating, the backup we brought in last year. Just under 3,000 yards. Again, we weren't focused as much in the passing game due to us having Maddox. I think that could change a little bit into this next year. What's up, Loco? 31 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. I mean, for a redshirt freshman, that's really good. That's less than a 3% interception rate and a 3-to-1 ratio. Really solid work here from Del Griffin. I can only imagine he's going to get a good jump. He does have elite dev as well. Hopefully he gets a little bit more physical attributes. Running that ball, we were 19 yards short of the 2K mark for a boy in Nate Maddox. He averaged 8.2 yards a rush, 16 touchdowns, about 115 yards a game, 21 20-plus yard runs, and he broke 18 tackles, a long of 82. I mean, this guy was just fantastic. I think even a bigger impact than Tank Hawkins had for us in our full-on build. And Tank Hawkins was an incredible part of this team during his time. Del Griffin was actually second for us in rushing with 841 yards, and I feel like that's kind of a quiet 841 yards because he wasn't a big focus of the running game. I think later in the year we did start to scramble around a little bit more with him. Averaged about 5 yards a run, 8 rushing touchdowns. He had 3 of 20 plus. That's good. Any fumbles? Yeah, he did have 6. So not great there. Naylor didn't get that many carries. I was hoping for a bigger workload, though when he did get those carries, they were impactful. About 6 yards a carry, 13 touchdowns. And he had 5 of 20 plus. Playing at that fullback spot for us, I think that's great. Carlos, are you only recruiting 3 stars? No, we are well past that. The initial setup for this series is that we would only be able to recruit, I think, 1 2-star plus of where our prestige was until we got to the point where obviously if we got to, I think it was a 3 or 4 star program, then it just basically opened up everything. So at this point, everything is opened up. Though when we start our new series in College Football 27, which I'm still imagining we're going to get some news on here pretty soon. We're going to have similar, hit the mic. We're going to have similar rules there where it will be based off of team prestige. I might even make it a little bit more difficult. Only one player, 1 star higher than our prestige, and everyone else same prestige. Just to try to make things a little bit more difficult. One caveat to that we had this year was anyone who was already interested in us, whether it was at the start of the year or in the transfer portal, we could go after them no matter their prestige. We'll see if we do that next time. You guys let me know your thoughts on that. Edward, who's going to be the speed back for next season? That is going to have to be something we're going to figure out. I'm not sure if you're just now joining us. Obviously, Nate Maddox graduating. Bruce Scales, who's that other more scat back guy, he is most likely going to be transferring away because we didn't meet his playing style. So really the only running back that's going to be returning is Devin Naylor. And I don't remember if we've brought in another running back yet. We're going to check in on that when we get to that. But Scales did have a few runs for us this year, a little bit of a bigger role, but really not much. The receivers didn't really work the way I was hoping they would for us this year. We brought in Tevin Eagles as that elusive route runner. Mostly, I brought him in to be our Z receiver, but because we switch things around so much, setting him to be the Z as best as you could do here in College Football 26 didn't really work out. So he was actually playing more of that X receiver role for us, and he just wasn't a good deep threat. He was really good in the short and intermediate, but we never really got that deep threat. And I don't know if Danny Sternberger's going to get to that with his 87 speed. So I do think we are going to look at some receiver options in the portal. Pepperjack Hawk mentioned earlier, number 15, Jurgensen from Florida, as I accidentally went to Kentucky. I guess that's a good way of just motioning on over here to Florida. Their guy, Aiden Jurgensen, he had 3 touchdowns on us in that semifinal game. It was against Christic. We all know how that went. But he's only a redshirt sophomore. Now, he's a 94 overall. I don't know if he's going to look to transfer. He also could very well be going to the draft. So we're going to see what that ends up looking like. We'll make sure to check it out, and do please remind me when we get there, if I forget, to see of all the Florida players if they end up looking to move on. But Eagles, again, solid, short, medium. I really want to find that deep threat. He ended up leading us in receiving touchdowns, tied with George Theory, which I'm kind of surprised that he ended up being our number 2 in terms of yards, because there were games where he really just disappeared. Maddox, big screen guy for us, now was consistent. Danny Sternberger, a terrific start to the year. Again, I want to say it was 3-4 games in a row where he had a touchdown. Take a quick double check on that. I want to say, I'm going to go with 3. It was only 2. Definitely felt longer than that. But he had a really good start to the season, and then for portions, he kind of just disappeared. Did have a really good national championship game, though, for us. But I'm hoping he could take that next step. I still think we're going to be looking at the portal for what the receivers have. Rodney Lupke, I was again hoping he would finally take a step this year. Started off with a couple good plays here and there, kind of gave me the idea that maybe he would do something, and it really never happened. We kind of split the tight end role with Shelley and even Rasmussen. 2 catches this year for 2 touchdowns. Pretty solid for a redshirt freshman who rarely saw the field. Offensive line this year, they gave up some pressure, but ultimately, they didn't give up a whole lot of sacks. And they were pretty healthy. We didn't really have large stints of these guys getting injured regularly. We did see Percy Apple in the postseason get injured a little bit more regularly, but that was probably due to, actually, no. Season health was fine. But he just had some really bad wear and tear in his chest. So I guess the big old DTs were punching a little bit too hard and too often. Defense, though, Robert Bond, I've got to say, was a bit of a disappointment. I don't know if that was the same for you guys as well, with how well he played in the first, I would even say 3 quarters of the season. That last quarter in the playoffs, he kind of just disappeared. Luckily, we had Jake Kaminsky, and he stepped up his play in that last quarter and in the playoffs for sure. Both of them over 100 tackles, both of them over 20 TFLs. Again, Robert Bond doing most of his work early on. 3.5 versus 5.5 sacks, but Jake Kaminsky leading the team in picks. And if you go back to last offseason, he was a late addition. We weren't really even trying to pick him up. We just, dangled some points his way. We were going heavy for Robert Bond. Now, we did get the higher overall guy, but Kaminsky, I think, was the bigger impact. Total TFL leader is Bond. Hochstein at 24 is a little bit surprising to me. Lee's at 22, Gage at 18. What a phenomenal true freshman campaign. 41 tackles, 18 TFLs, 8.5 sacks to lead the team. If only he got a pick in there. But tremendous season. He's a star dev, already does have that platinum recoup. Bronze pocket disruptor. I'm hoping we're going to get some upgrades and maybe even additions to that for next season. Yeah, tremendous year. And then Jaden Blunt did get 10 TFLs, 4.5 sacks. Just a little bit disappointing in general. Same as just the pass rush too. It was very hit or miss. We would have games where we had 6, 7 sacks, and then a stretch of games where we had 0. So I'm not completely sold. Steve Lee, still a solid year, more so in run defense than pass rush, but does have that elite dev. Hopefully he gets a little bit better. Hochstein again could potentially return. He also has that elite. So we're going to see what the defensive line looks like. I still might take a look at that portal. And then Hatchet and Christic both had 2 picks and a handful down the lines. Again, what that secondary is going to look like could be dramatically different for us next year. Probably will be dramatically different. Touchdown-wise, we did have 4. 1 for Hochstein, Brents, Christic, and Kaminsky. The pass deflections, I just don't know how much it actually truly counts them, because obviously the catch is allowed. Never does. Wish it did. Forced fumbles, Kaminsky and Hyman tie for 2. And then again, another stretch of players each with 1. And we probably recovered a majority, but we definitely left a few out there. Block kicks, 2, 1 Hochstein, 1 Kakaha, who did have a very disappointing year. Ended up kind of being benched in the long haul. Who had the most snaps, though? That was Christian Neighbors, which is surprising because he's our slot corner, and he doesn't get a start in anything. Granted, we do primarily play in the nickel, but you would have thought it would have been someone who was on the field 24/7, and that just wasn't exactly the case. Okay, bit of a surprise there. You guys let me know who you think your MVPs were of the season. As for Celessi Yee, 70%, 100 though from the extra point range. So, okay year. It's not as bad as our previous kicker who's still with the mean machine. At least I sure hope so. Punting wise, I don't feel like I really punted that much, only 25 times. Average about 40 yards a punt. Switched the field by 34 yards, really nothing crazy at all. That's Grubb's career, and that is this season in the books. I don't think there's anything else we have to look at. We've seen it all, the awards and everything. I guess I could run through those real quick because I didn't really highlight much on the other award winners. We'll take a scroll as well through the conference champions. But Maxwell, we all know, went to Gillette. He was basically our Nate Maddox this year, which is why he got the spot on the national championship thumbnail, because it was a battle of different Heismans. We got Bear Bryant going to Ohio. I don't think that's one that we've won yet. And we weren't even in the running. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. O'Brien goes to the quarterback from Miami. Couple here for Northern Illinois. They're both Eric Boss. He's a sophomore. Again, I don't think we need linebacker, but that's something to keep in mind. Another Ohio guy? We'll have to see what Ohio did this year. Ari Cobbs. He is a senior, though. Nate Maddox did get the Doak Walker. Blitnikoff. Allaire, edge rusher. No. A little bit of love for Hochstein. I'd like to see Stanford on that list, too. But yeah, no love for Gage, which I think is a little bit surprising. Edge rusher of the year, Hochstein in the list, but it does go to Hilaire. Outland Trophy, Alabama. I feel like that's pretty regular. That is pretty regular. No love for the tight ends here. Another Ohio guy. The butt kiss does go to Eric Boss. Did have Kaminsky higher than Bond. Yeah, we're definitely not going to be in the kicker one. Nate Maddox in the running as well for the special teams returner. And the freshman player does not go to Del Griffin. And in fact, they didn't even put Gage on that list, which is completely wrong in my understanding of everything. But those are the awards. We'll take a quick look as well at the conference championship week. I can only imagine that Ohio is in one of those. Navy does beat Rice for the American. Miami handedly over Florida State. BYU beat Texas Tech. We did not beat Penn State. A little bit of a sore subject around here. Conference USA does go to Middle Tennessee. We played them the first round of the playoffs. And Ohio does not win the MAC. They lose to Toledo. And they were 9-0 going into that game in conference play. Mountain West, though, does go to Hawaii. I like Hawaii and I like San Jose State. Since Pac-12 disappeared, I've been watching a lot of San Jose State because they just keep playing at night. Them and Sac State, I believe. Sac State, are they going to the Pac-12? I know they put in their bid. I don't remember if they did get that call up or not. But the Pac-12 here does go to Cal, 32-27. I believe we've had Stanford, Cal, maybe one other rejoin the Pac. SEC did go to Florida, not by much though. Clemson played that one close. And the Sun Belt, which could be our next home in college football 27, perhaps, at least where we start, that does go to Troy, 49-26 over App State. Not too shabby. I like a little bit of some difference there. Not always the same people over and over again. Did not check out All-Americans. End of the year first team, Nate Maddox. No love for the rest of our team? Okay then. Second team. We do get Robert Bond there, but no Christic. I don't know about that. Freshman. Quarterback still doesn't make it there. And we do get Matthew Gage at least there. Freshman National All-American. As for the Big Ten first team, Maddox is there. Still no love for our offense. Now we get Kaminsky and Bond, first team All Big Ten. Second team is Hochstein. No one else. And then freshman, we do get Del Griffin, Danny Sternberger, Ben Hardrick, who really, I don't think played at all. Gage. That's that. Not too bad. I expected a little bit more, but makes a little bit of some sense as well. Carlos, I believe they are going to the MAC. That sounds right. Yeah, because I remember being like, why would they not be in the Mountain West? Money, I guess. But now I think we're actually able to finally move on here. One thing I will know right before we do, I promise we're going to get there. We are keeping the team together here. Scott Abel and Darren Gardner are going to be returning for this final year. Scott Abel, very impactful, I would say, in the lore here of this series and kind of rejuvenating the offense a little bit while still keeping a little bit of its originality. And then Gardner, I'm pretty sure we've had since day one. So we've very much built his career. But on to the next week, which we should be through that week pretty quickly as well. I just want to see if we get some more coaching points, which it doesn't look like. That is something I think I'm going to do differently. College Football 27. Is I'm going to have, I think, the faster Coach XP on rather than the slower, because we're just not really able to get to many of these awards or abilities for a coach that I would really love to see us do, because we just haven't experienced that yet. As for right now, yeah, we still have the 41 points. When I opened up the save file for today, we did get the notification that we did unlock CEO. As for anyone who is wondering what we have done so far, we are pretty much a recruiter with a blend of the scheme guru because there's really not much more we needed to do here. We could look to unlock, but I just don't think it would really be that impactful. And in fact, we can't even unlock. We haven't signed 2 top 5 recruiting classes. Just surprising at this point. But yeah, so once we kind of got stalled out there, we went more towards the scheme guru, unlock strategist, and I think we were just trying to improve our quarterback a little bit, which is good for if we have any freshmen. However, I don't imagine we're going to have too many freshmen this year. Like maybe the tight end. But CEO, we could look to unlock. Problem is we didn't get any more points. So it's not really going to help us because we got to spend 35 to unlock it, and all the upgrades are 16. And what I would look to do is an increased chance for a player to upgrade their dev trait, but at this point, I just don't think we would have that in time. So we'll hold off, and maybe we'll do something in terms of some position boosts for next season. For that final push, probably seems like a smart decision for us. So that's the plan for the coaching points. And again, I plan on making it easier to upgrade our coach next time, just so we can actually experience those upgrades. But college football history, we're making it, you know? 2 of the last 3 years, we have won the Natty. USC's been in the Natty 2 of the last 3 years. Miami's been in the Natty 2 of the last 3 years. So I mentioned earlier, new teams. In fact, Miami's been in it 3 of the last 4 years. They beat TCU in 2028. USC's been in it in 3 of the last 5. So really, there's not that big of a difference at the top. Lou Hernandez has won 2. We've won 2. Lincoln Riley with 1 there. UCLA made it in 2026. The West Coast and Florida and Ohio are kind of running things now in this series. Just make sure no one left there at the end. Why doesn't it start with the A's? Why not make this easier for everybody? Yeah, no Kent State in there, so we are perfectly fine. No last second changes. And we're actually able to get the offseason fully underway here as we move on to the next week. And Scales does top the list of most likely transferring. So this is where we find out all the information we need to know for how this offseason is going to move forward. Players leaving. Just took about 30 minutes for us to get to that point. And at the top of the board, Hochstein is looking to go as a redshirt sophomore. Now, house rules are if they declare for the draft, we're not trying to bring him back. So Hochstein is gone. Scales looking to transfer. Browning looking to transfer. Matlock transfer. Ladarius Cheeks is looking to transfer. Clay Biggs, probably one of our lower overall of the younger offensive linemen. And Lamb, perfectly fine with him leaving as well. Break things down by position here. Pringle did graduate. And Maddox, projected 3rd rounder. So maybe coming back for this year despite winning that national championship, not being in the running for the Heisman and only getting 1 award kind of lowered him from a late 1st, early 2nd in terms of when running backs typically are getting drafted to now a projected 3rd. I still think he probably goes in the 2nd. And we may look to try to convince, we got 10 persuasions. We may try to convince Scales to return just so we have more depth at running back. Receiver-wise, Theory graduating. Lupke graduating. Browning we saw transferring. I'll probably try to get him to return. Very low though, so probably not a high success chance. We'll try it again with Matlock too. He was our starter this year. Biggs I could probably let walk, if I'm being honest. Wake graduating. Kakaha graduating. Hochstein we saw projected. Gee is graduating. Excuse me. Robert Bond projected 6th rounder. I think that makes sense with his fall. that last quarter and then in the postseason. I think that makes sense. A few more graduations. Cornerback-wise, Hatchett projected 5th rounder, and Christic is just graduating. So it is realistic in that standpoint. Duggar graduating. Peaks transfer, graduating from Iverson, and graduation from Zyman. Now, I can see Zyman maybe making a practice squad or trying out maybe in the UFL. UFL might be a good option for him. They need to make a UFL game. And Celestia Yee is just graduating. So nothing dramatic, really. But we got some persuasions. See if we can keep any of these guys around. Bruce Scales, a larger role for you will not be enough. That's one thing I wish we had. And I think we had it in, I want to say it was 14, NCAA 14, might have been 13. But you could actually give a pitch here. A promise, I think is what they called it. And I would like that, because I'd like to promise him more playing time, because he would see it now. But that's not going to be the case. What about Paul Browning? I want to say a 2-year starter for us. He is also out the door. What about Matlock? Give me one of these guys. Probably not. And no, it's not. And I don't think it's going to be massive for us to try to bring back bigs. But we'll try it. Okay, well, we get one lineman back. It's reverse psychology. Ladarius Cheeks, he's a box specialist. That's really not fitting what we're looking for. Speed's bad. I'm fine letting him walk. And I'm fine bringing back bigs. He actually has some decent ratings. Fine by me. Fine by me. Before we go, check in on Florida. Jurgensen is headed to the draft. So I'm sorry, Pepper Jack Hawk. He is not going to be an option for us. However, I do see some DTs on this. I don't know if it was one of the DTs that we actually played against. And Dalton Gee does not sound familiar. So we can do a little bit of pre-scouting here. Not the finesse moves, unfortunately. We view his player card. I feel like this is a little cheating. Or so I just wanted to see if he had any snaps against us. No, he didn't play in the postseason at all. So, again, apologies, Pepper Jackhawk, but none of the options you wanted us to go after from Florida is going to be an option. And I was really hoping we could get Aiden Jurgensen. We'll have to figure out something else. Terrell Irving is also headed to the draft. I think those are their primary two. I don't really remember a Thomas Moss. Might be Tomas Alves. I don't remember him. Let's find out where these guys are headed and actually start to fill in some holes on our roster. We're always dropping stuff upstairs. I don't know how much of that actually comes through the comes through the mic. My audio is kind of a little bit low. Turn that up a little bit. 91 overall is where they still have us. With the draft results. Drum roll, please. And no first rounder. Stashlinsky does go as a second rounder, and Maddox does go as a third. Hochstein in the fourth with Hatchett. So I think Hatchett went up. Let's say he was a fifth or a sixth. Bond does go up from a six. Christic gets drafted. Who did it? Who do you think drafted Christic? Who would be likely to draft an absolute bust of a player and hope that they turn out? I'm going to go with the Raiders. What do you guys think? I just feel like he would fit so well. From Inglewood, Colorado. Las Vegas, Nevada. Do we do a Christic redemption series at some point? If, Madden ends up being good, do we do a road to, or superstar mode or whatever they have over there? Honestly, I haven't paid much attention to it because the last couple times I've tried, it's just been awful. But Terrell Christic, it's drafted. That's a really big surprise. Someone tried it. Tennessee Titans, maybe? I could maybe get behind one of those two. Let's see. Florida. Jurgensen does go first round, and I would probably say like a top 8 pick. Can we look at all? Did it actually give us a full breakdown? No, that's unfortunate. That'd be cool though. That's honestly something I've never checked. But yeah, Florida sends a number of guys. Their other receiver goes with the 4th. Now it's a little bit loud. Turn it down a little bit. What about Miami? Roll on down. Miami did have a good amount. Their quarterback goes round 1. I don't think he played that well, though. Wembley does get drafted as a junior. He had a fantastic game. Unfortunately, no one else for Florida did enough. Bostic goes in the 5th. Conklin goes 6th round. That's probably a Minnesota Viking pickup. They like to go blocker there late at tight end. Not bad. Anyone want to see a specific team? Let me know. We are going to check out Notre Dame. Oop, too far. A lot of number 1s. Schottenheimer goes before Nate Maddox. I don't know how I feel about that. Jake Ellington, good tight end. Though also listed pure blocker. 80 speed. Call it New England. Some of these other guys' names not necessarily sticking out. Steve Cotton, I feel like saw a little bit. Ezekiel Vaughns, I remember him. They have 2 centers go? No. I think I'm mixing that up with one of Miami's. Where's Ohio State at? They're not doing a whole lot. Ben Diablo, fun name. Yeah. I think any other Penn State. Of course, you got to check out Penn State. Freese does go. He was the dominant running back. It was before Nate Maddox as well. Giannis Brown doesn't really sound familiar. Frank Ladd, he had, I think, a pick or 2 against us. Dante Wood. Well, I'm sure we'll see Penn State one more time, if maybe not more. What about Stanford? They doing anything? Their quarterback went in the 7th. I'll give them that. But I think it's time we got to figure out what we're doing here. It's transfer portal time, which means we got to find out where our holes are on roster. Now, seniors will still show up here. They're gone. Learned our lesson the hard way in the one-year challenges, which is on pause, mind you. That is on pause for right now. We need a running back because we only got 1. Receiver-wise, Theory's gone. I mean, we've got some bodies. Do we think anyone takes a big leap here? Star, star, normal, normal, star, normal, normal, star. So I'm not sure Danny Sternberger is going to take that leap we want. I think Demetrius Willingham probably takes over in the slot next year. And we might need to find an actual deep field stretching kind of guy. I think that's going to be one of our biggest focuses. I don't think we have that many holes on our roster. We're going to have a very deliberate offseason, which means more scouting rather than just trying to bring in a bunch of guys. Kalu, well-rounded. He honestly looks good to me. We'll probably have to move someone to center unless we think the impact freshman and Doug Chansey can develop enough. Strength is at an 87, low awareness. Run block, I mean, it's nothing fantastic. I think we probably look at center. Forgot Percy Apple was a true freshman. I mean, we've got some bodies in case we don't find someone. Gregory McLean did see some playing time last year. Same as Stephen Jewell. Both potentially could play a little bit of some center if need be. Defensive end-wise, we've got 2 here at left. Hochstein is headed to the NFL. And I don't think Lee is leaving. So we'll probably need to bring in... Well, I think we might have some commits. So I don't think defensive end is going to be massive for us. We You have some decent speed too and good acceleration with Ben Hardrick. Good strength. The awareness is a little bit low, though better play rec. He just doesn't have much pass rush ability. Oscar Colombo does. And yeah, so it looks like Hardrick would just be the base down or base package guy. And then you would have Colombo as the actual rusher. We still may take a look at what's available with edge rush. DT wise, pretty much everyone's sticking around, so it's not a big need. We just have to hope that Jaden Blunt can step up a little bit as a junior. Because Gage isn't going anywhere. Hyman's not going anywhere. Those two are still starters in their respective spots. Hyman and Gage will be together at the base packages. Blunt's that guy that rotates in for pass rush. Anthony Butt still here. Might be back into a starting lineup, perhaps. Did Kaminsky not go? I'm going to have to double check that. I could have sworn I saw that Kaminsky was going. No. Kaminsky stays around. Actually massive here for our defense. That's absolutely massive. Team captain. We go ahead and make that official. That team captain, Jake Kaminsky, choosing to stick around for the repeat season. Fingers crossed, we hope. Yeah, I'm not too worried then about linebacker. I think we'll get some good development. Although some of those that are in line, they're not necessarily standing out. Though we've got guys on the other side. George Kiki's got that good dev. I think we've got some bodies for it. Hatchett's gone. Christic is gone. Neighbors is sticking around with that impact dev. We've got good development with these corners. I still think we maybe take a look for like one. If there's a really big standout guy. Nick Barno also sticking around. That 99 speed, 95 excel. I figured he could have snuck into the draft, but he says no, he's going to return. So we just have to replace one safety. We got the star dev and Roland Abrams. Just the awareness is low. The man coverage, though, is really high. And I was considering we might be changing up our defensive calling next year to be more zone-focused. But that man is really good. If we want to run some cover one, Abrams can do it. Of those returning, Neighbors does have better zone. Yearby has better zone. Brents has the better man. So we might be able to kind of switch things around game by game dependent, which is something we haven't done before. And then obviously we got to bring ourselves in a new kicker, or a new punter, I should say. So overall, I mean, it's pretty open for us to kind of pick and choose, which is really nice because I don't feel like we've had that so far. Now here's the players we have brought in. Drew Shields is a guy I think who could make an impact as a true freshman. 6'6", little under 200 pounds. He's a bit light, but 87 speed is something we have not had at tight end. And he's elite development already with Brown's workhorse. Now he's not going to help out in pass blocking or in run blocking, most likely. 60 there might be okay. But I think he's going to actually provide that threat at tight end we haven't had. He was a number 3 tight end in the country. We do have Bill Towns, an offensive lineman athlete. And it probably looks like we're out of this one. Yeah, just straight up locked out. We'll go ahead and remove Steve Wing. We did bring in one running back, an East-West playmaker in Nick Browning. So there's at least 2 running backs on a roster. And he does have that 95 speed, 93 excel. Bronze shifty. It was, looking back through. Why can I not see it now? It was Edward. Edward Kelly was asking about the speed back for next year. It might be Nick Browning. Again, we'll see what the portal has in mind for us, but he could see some playing time. Running Christian Major, a route artist receiver. I mean, the medium route running is really good. I don't know if he'd be good enough to be a starter, though. No, we're not exiting. Got Theo Jolly as well. He does have the silver cutter, bronze layout, 88 speed again. Really good medium route running. I think not a lot here. Got Mick Kolodeji, a lurker linebacker. Probably won't be seeing the field with the depth we have there. Eric Draper. I was hoping it would still keep around some of this information, but it looks like at this point they made their decision. We probably need to bring in a quarterback. I don't know if we have a good backup quarterback because we didn't land one, I think, in this recruiting class. We did get a corner, Alfonso DeVoe. Good speed, not ready to start. Taulia Nyang, probably butchering that. Another running back option, not as fast, but still has that bronze shifty. So we got at least 3 running backs on roster. Gonna remove Wall. Got some depth for edge. Another depth guy. We got a lot of depth for edge, so I don't think we have to focus too much at all at edge. Got a few more linebackers in the mix. Ty Horn, not ready to start. Good press, but not ready. And then we got a number of guys who hopefully will go ahead and commit themselves. But I'm not going to focus too much here on these 3 stars for sure. But we do have 7 + 5, 12 open spots. See what the portal has. And I know we need some quarterback. We need some depth at quarterback. Don't show me the recommended. Show me the top options available. There are no 5 stars. Yeah, no 5 stars. Okay. Top guys on the board then. A left tackle, which we don't need. A left guard, Cornell Casey. Why does that name sound so familiar? Did he play for us at some point? I mean, he couldn't have, because he's right now a sophomore, would be a junior, right? I don't think we lost the guy last year, but that name looks so familiar. Interesting. A will linebacker. Again, this is not a big need for us. Tight end, though, and Noah Rudolph. Pure blocker. Probably not going to fit what we're looking to do. Though he does already have interest in us, which is fun. A running back east-west playmaker in Jimmy Mixon. Ran for 900 yards last year. Pretty healthy. Give him a scout. Rail Tubbs. That's a great name. Not so much for a speed rusher. If they have a DT named Tubbs, I'd be all over it. Instead, we got a DT here in Thomas Marciano. Speed rusher. 11 sacks last year. On the board. Only played in 4 games, but is a 4-star. I don't know if he'd be much better than what we already have. But we can scout. Already has interest in us. We'll check out the top 50, roughly. Some more edge here. Quan Felix, edge setter. A running back and Sam Mama, elusive bruiser. Not what we're looking for. Steve Jewell, edge setter. There's a lot of edge setters. Not a fan. A corner here. Barry Stacy, zone. And a 4-star as a transfer freshman. 2 picks last year. Take a look. North-south blocker. I'm good. More speed rusher. 6 sacks. Not a big need. We'll stick with the other guy we're looking at. Miami does have a offensive lineman out the door. Doesn't fit our scheme, though. A pure blocker. Contact seeker. A gadget receiver. Not exactly the match we're looking for, but I think that's the first receiver we've come across that at least was not locking us out from Miami. From Loxahatchee. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. We got any Florida people around here? We'll take a scout though. No interceptions, boundary style, and Mike Higdon. Taylor Lauletta, another zone type, but 7 interceptions. Wow. Played in 12 games, but he only had 83 snaps. Just do like a long snapper? That's the top 50. And we did add 7 players. So let's just take a look at them. And then we'll go based off of our needs. So Jimmy Mixon. We got a lot of points, so we're going to be pretty frivolous. 97 speed and acceleration. Okay, then. 90 ball carrier vision. 88 carrying. Only 77 break tackle. A 91 change of direction. Wow. What's that other running back we had on here? We only added him? I guess the other guys weren't matches. That makes my decision pretty easy. We're going all in. What about Thomas Marciano? Potential replacement. He had, what, the 11 sacks? 96 strength as well. Already with that silver pocket disruptor, bronze takedown. Awareness isn't anything crazy, but 91 finesse moves with 84 block shedding. We didn't have consistent pass rush, so I can't say that all the spots on the line are secured. And I see a lot of A grades. We're going in on that one. Dalton Warren have a potential starting spot open at center at 6'3", 299. He could transfer over to that spot just fine. Not the smartest at 77. Run block is decent. Pass block is actually really good. A lot of abilities. Gold screen enforcer and quick step with the silver option shield and bronze quick drop. That guy's good. I mean, all these guys were top 50, so they should be. What about Kerry Stacy? 6'2", 170 pounds. He is a freshman. Good speed. Man coverage just isn't enough. Doesn't have the press either. Let's take him off our board. Jose Hack, what are we looking at? Really good acceleration. Wow. Really good deep route running as well. Short route running is really good. Okay. Loxahatchee. We like you. Gold slide or sidestep and shifty, bronze cutter. I just don't know what the release is. But that's a special talent. That looked a lot like Tank Hawkins. That's a lot like Tank Hawkins by the time he graduated. Now, Hack would be a senior. It's fine, though, because we got one more year. 77, man. I mean, the speed is good. They will get better. You hope. Does have a bronze jammer and a gold quick jump. We might take a look at what our cornerback room looks like. Better gauge of their ratings. 87 man, those pretty good. Or zone, I should say. Big drop off the man. So before we make a decision on these corners or look at others, take another quick look at the cornerback room. Because if these guys are just going to come in basically what we already have, then we might as well just keep the guys we already have, right? So Neighbors will be coming back. So it's going to be Neighbors, Year B, Jameson Brents, Quincy Weathersby most likely. So we got the mid to low 80s and mid to high 70s. Now, press-wise, no one has good press outside of Quincy Weathersby. But even then, that's a press zone, which is interesting. I prefer more press man. So I think we're probably going to be switching things up to a zone style. Based off of who we have, and Jameson Brents is just going to be the only one who could really do some man coverage. So we might have to just sprinkle that in a little bit and not run a whole lot of man this year. Or try to completely overhaul our quarterback room, which we potentially could do. We've got the hours for it. And we'll see what other cornerback options are. We know we need to look at some quarterbacks. Feel like we're good at receiver. With Jose Hack, we just have to hope he's got some good release, but everything else looks so good. I could only imagine he's going to have at least a release 80 plus. He's just not going to have, being a gadget, abilities that are going to help that, like takeoff, but I think it should do enough. So then looking at what we saw, Mike Higdon, while the speed is really good, does have the press ability that we don't have. And again, should get better. I think Lauletta we could probably pass on. And I think we bring in Higdon potential competition. Feel free to leave your guys' input as well, what you think. That's the first spot. We still have 7 more spots to look at, and I know we got to find ourselves a quarterback. They don't have to be a starter either. It's just backup. Got Taylor Smoker, didn't play last year, a freshman. There's not much information to know on him, but we'll take a peek. From Ohio State, he doesn't have to go far. Then you're into the 3 stars. Pocket passer is not going to work out. Yeah, you're not going to see a lot of quarterbacks interested because the playing time is going to be low. Keenan Henderson, Chesapeake, Virginia, also didn't play. Had a couple guys there. What does the board say we need? More running backs. I think we're good with running backs. Take a look at the corners. Safety. We do need to look at some safety. We didn't like Stacy, didn't like Lauletta. We got Sokol, David Sokol, pretty close to Skull. Boundary guy, 2 picks last year. Would be a senior, number 1 on his board. Fraboni, Sal Fraboni from Erie, Pennsylvania. Bump and run. Played a little bit last year, but didn't record much. Got 3 more spots. What about Makari? He's a field type, so that's a little bit more of a slot, but does have 8 picks. We'll give him a look, and then we're going to look at the safeties as well. Top option here, David Dogby. Box specialist, though. That doesn't really fit what we do, but he is a 4-star. We could take a look. We're going to need 4 stars at strong. No. $148 is the high there, which would be higher than Zeno. He is a coverage specialist, though. UConn. Or Moses Diamond from Arkansas State. More pass deflection. Seems like he was around the ball a little bit more. However, he is another box specialist. We're going to bet on to Zeno here, at least for our first looks. All right, Smoker. Taylor Smoker is a dual threat, throw on the run. I mean, again, this guy doesn't need to be starting caliber, just backup caliber. It's okay. He will also get better. From New York, New York. Keenan Henderson. Not great throw power. I think I'm already going to go for Smoker. Again, backup role for us. Just need someone there in case disaster strikes. David Sokol. Good acceleration, really good change of direction, which is big at corner. Platinum Jammer. That's something Christic didn't have at all. Speed's decent. Got the 91 press ability too. I'm perfectly good with cornerback competition. And the loser could also potentially play some safety. Sal Fraboni, what do you look like? 99 speed looks promising. Horrendous zone coverage. Get out of here. Like the speed, but you got to be able to have some duality to your cover. Now, Cortez Bakari, good start here. A lot of 90s. With the field archetypes, I'm more so worried based off of their speed and acceleration. And that's why. 88 speed. Acceleration's not too bad. Change of direction is okay. Awareness is really low. Well, it started off really good there. I'm just not sure. With no abilities, he's going to do enough with that low awareness. And we don't get play rec on there. We already have 2 corners on the list. I'm going to have to be tough here. He's off the board. David Dogby. Really awful press. Yeah, you're off the board too. Zeno. Away. Was that supposed to be the safety? Might need to take a second look at him. No, he got the good zone, but the man is low. Really bad speed. Yeah, you're gone too. Even for my safeties. I might have acted a little bit quick, though, on the other safety. The 1 4-star. Dogby. Let's take a second look at you, not as a corner. That instant speed, not bad. You don't need the press because you're a safety. Catching's good. Tackling's really good. The man isn't anything crazy. I mean, he's definitely more free safety. We'll add another guy onto the board here. That does still leave us with 4 more spots. Do we need to fill anything else? I said I would look at some edge rush, so let's look at some edge rush. Because we switched things around a lot last year because guys are struggling. Rel Tubbs. We'll take a look at you. 6 sacks. Juan Felix is an edge setter. No sacks. Only 2 TFLs. He only started in 3 games. We could take a look at least. Steve Jewell. Did I just not? Because he was an edge setter. We'll take a look. And we could tack on 1 more player. We need a punter. Thought I was going to forget about that. Gonna transfer punter. Why not? Tack him on the board. Rel Tubbs. What are we looking like here? Well, he's definitely not power, but does have that gold quick jump. Good acceleration. Really good tackle. Platinum recoup. Bronze takedown. Not super strong. Not the best in the block shed. I just don't feel like the power and finesse ratings are that different than the freshmen we have in Colombo. So I'm not overtly sold. Edge setter, you're going to have to do a lot here to convince me, and no. What about Jewel? Finesse is not a good place to start. He's a good run stopper, but we need pass rush. Let's scout up a punter, too. And make me go all the way? Not all the way. Decent enough punter. Call it good. I've got points to spend, so we're going to go all in there on the punter as well. Now, Tubbs. A lot of abilities. 89 finesse, 75 power. 89 finesse, 75 power. Is that enough? If we check out our current edge guys, and we are about to get a lot more edge guys as well. Ardrick, we already know, is not the pass rusher. 89 and what, 75? I mean, it's flipped, so it's a different style. Maybe it would be good in that case. Hochstein is going to the league. So we got Lee. I mean, yeah. Because the other guys aren't certain by any means. So let's give Tubbs some points. From Arlington, Texas. Did we find a rush DT? Yes, we did. Marciano. And a potential center, Dalton Warren, and a mix of some of our other guys. Got the running back. Got a receiver. Backup quarterback. We only have one corner who stayed on the list here? No, we have two. Okay. The only other option I think to look at would be potentially more receiver. We already are looking at the top option available to us. Yeah, not a lot of receiver love for us. Tested specialist, gadget. I wanted to see if there were any speedsters towards the top. And it doesn't seem to be the case. Okay, then. I think we are good to go. I think we've got plenty of talent. And we have hours to spare. So in that instance, then, just to ensure that we are at least doing something here with these young bucks, we are in second for you. Let's give you 50 as well. Normally, this is not necessary, but you never know here. I want to make sure we have the depth as well, just in case, because that did help us a lot last year, having the depth. That's 115 extra points that we don't need to spend this time. So that is week 1. We found some really good players. Now we just have to get them to commit. That's going to be the hardest part, right? Or is it finding them? And it's looking pretty good so far outside of Jose Hack. Granted, we weren't on his board at all initially. And I scroll on down here. Yep, that's signed, sealed, and delivered. Still behind there on Texas, but they pulled off. Okay, for Mixon, we are up to first, but it's competition. Marciano, we are up to second. There's competition. First for Warren, still pretty close. A big jump for Hack, but it looks like a lot of other teams are also very much interested. Got some work to do with Taylor Smoker. Notre Dame is trying to make sure we don't have a backup quarterback. Good jump there from Dodeby. It weren't on the initial board for Tubbs, so it is a good jump. I think we ought to get some visits scheduled and then potentially look at some other options, just in case. What am I doing here? Ready for visits. I'd like to get Mixon in here early. And playing style is big, and that's going to be his biggest one. You know a guy named Nate Maddox? That's what we want you to do here. Marciano. Championship contender. Pretty good here for us. Get him scheduled up for week 3. Dalton Warren. Complimentary here with our running back. Championship contender. Yes, it is. Mike Higdon. Get him scheduled up for week 3 as championship contender again. Smoker. Not going to be complimentary for anyone. Where we need a receiver. That's unfortunate. Championship contender for you as well. And week 3, we're going to extend that to week 4 here for Sokol. Pro potential B. Well, if we're waiting till week 4, let's hold off on that then and make sure we get something good in for him. So it does look like we still need to look at some potential other receiver options, maybe another corner option. I'm not hard-pressed if we don't get the speed rusher, though I think it would be a good addition for us. Yeah. Well, let's look at some other receivers. And we're just going to have to not be too picky. At least with who we're putting on the board. We'll scout and then we'll be picky. People don't want to come here for some reason. Agnew is another gadget type. No offers on him. Another gadget. I guess we're going to check out a couple gadgets. Lonnie Agnew. Not as good of a deep route runner. Does have some good speed, though, so he's just not as polished of a receiver. Same as well for Saxton. So, again, good speed. I would say a better receiver. One has bronze cutter, one has bronze dot. Much better spec catch with Lonnie Agnew. Better awareness, too, so his ratings will actually probably be acted upon better. I just have a feeling Saxton might be the better option, but I don't know. The height as a deep threat is a slight concern. I know that wasn't a problem with Tank Hawkins, though. And they're position number 26 and 27, so, I mean, they're right. They're right there. I think I got to go with Saxton of those two. Just because I don't trust what we got going already with Hack. I want to make sure we bring in at least one receiver. Now, do we trust the corner look? It's not looking too bad. Probably need to take a look at another quarterback. And for that, we're going to do the search. Because I want quarterback. And we could also look at backfield creator. Not the perfect match, but it's not a bad match. However, it's a pretty steep drop until the next possible guy. So maybe not. Dual threat. Also a pretty steep drop here too. Steeper even. La Roque. What about a pure runner? Again, not that we're looking for a starter. I have to take a look at Steven Madrid here. Or one of our gadgets is going to have to go play quarterback. Break sack is awful. Throw power is horrendous. Can't do it. Madrid are back off the board. So it looks like we are going to have to take a look then at the backfield creator or look for a pocket passer who's got some speed. Unless the answer here is Kiki Pena. How are you? I guess backfield creators don't have to have a lot of speed. That's bad. That's bad. We just might not have a backup quarterback. We're going to have to take a look at pocket passers, see if we can find someone with some speed. I just need someone that's serviceable. So far, the guys I found are not serviceable. What we got here? Joseph Toppins. Third time the charm. I guess kind of in the way it's fourth time. Maybe? Take one more look at our roster. I think we've got one guy, or one other guy, I should say, outside of Del Griffin. That's right. We still have Kevon Fair. He has started before. So we've got a backup. We just don't have a young guy as like the emergency quarterback, which could be a gadget type. That kind of takes a little bit of some pressure off. If anything, we take a second look at the actual high school prospects. Let's see what all the options are. Anyone with no offers that is open? No, quarterbacks really don't want to come here. Okay, then. Well, that means we've got to find... Well, no, because he's going to be coming on a visit this week. There's no other thing we could do here to try to get that extra boost. That is our points spent. That is all of the visits scheduled that we can. Just double check here. Do we have a receiver that's young? No. Okay. I was going to say, because that would be one way to get someone in. And then we're going to wait on David Sokol. Yeah, on to week 2 or week 3. Hoping for some good news on the quarterback game then. Honestly, I forgot we had Kevon Fair. Forgot about that guy entirely. I thought we cut him. Marciano, what happened? Could have sworn we were in first. We did move up. Just not great. And we are out on Tubbs. And out on Smoker. He already committed to Notre Dame. Okay, well. I guess we're going to have to play a backup receiver at quarterback. Because no quarterback wanted to come play here. All right, Mixon. We are in front. We had a decent enough visit. We could definitely look into potential hard sells. If we got anything good, at least. Got potential in team player. Potential in campus personality. We got a lot of potentials. So we're going to stick with the... in the house then. Not a great week for us. Ole Miss really jumped forward. Championship contender and conference prestige. Could be aspirational goals. Could be conference legend. So we're down to 2 then. And I really hope it's not conference legend. But this is kind of a make or break week then. Do you guys think we go hard here on the 3A pluses and just fingers crossed, or do we go with a double soft sell? We also have him on a visit this week. And I'm hopeful that, you know, if we do the aspirational goals right and we have the visit go well, then I'm not saying he's going to commit, but he's going to get us pretty close to committing. But if we guess wrong, then that could really hurt. We'll come back. Let me know what you guys think. Dalton Warren, how are we looking here? Good jump. We are well in front. We know 2, championship contender and proximity to home. Could be hometown hero. Could also be conference legend. What was this race looking like? And we got a good lead. I would be more up for a gamble. The gamble this time is Conference Legend. Go Conference Legend. If it's wrong, it's at least still a really good pitch for us. Now for Hack here. Anchors away. I need you to move out the way. Playing time is big for him. Too bad we weren't able to get him scheduled. Before I make that, I'm also going to make sure there's no other complementaries we could get scheduled. Not enough hours available. What? Oh, because I haven't removed those. I've played this game before, I swear. Playing style and playing time. Could be campus personality. Playing style is really not good for us, though. So once again, I mean, there's a variety of things it could be. Could be clocked in. Campus personality. Which also is not that good for us. So if there's a possibility of landing this guy, it's probably clocked in. We just gotta hope. Now we have a visit here with Higdon. Do not have much information on that, so can't make any adjustments there. Local still don't have any information there outside of Pro Potential, which is only the B. That's annoying. No information here either. They're being stingy on some of this information. Good on the punter. Good on the backup receiver, at least. Ready for visits. Get the complimentary in for this week with, I guess, brand exposure. And I feel like we're just going to need to lock this in. Pro Potential for week 4. Then for Hack, get him in probably sooner rather than later. Now we know playing time's big, so let's get that in for him. I'm not going to schedule the punter to come for a visit. And now we need to make our decision then on the DT. I feel like it's one way we get him, one way we don't, so we might as well go with the way that could potentially land us the man, and that is 3 A+. So we're going to lock that in. Now, we did miss out on an edge rusher. We'll see if there's anyone else who looks decent. I don't think we looked at Spencer Tobin. We'll add him. Another speed rusher here in Emory. Iron Lacumbo. Pure power. I think that's really the guy we're really looking for. We'll take a look then at Trey Shaw. Any good moves here? Speed rusher with that 81. Not bad. Not as good. All right, Trey Shaw. Better strength. Finesse is lower. Yeah. Nope. I'm still here, but he's a no. I think Tobin is the guy. Yeah, there's also a 72 block shed. We're going to go with Tobin. It's a step down, but there is at least some duality to that game. Feel more comfortable with that. And that has us moving on then to the final week of recruiting. You guys think we're going to land some of these tougher guys in this one? Think we're going to survive with a receiver playing quarterback 3? Hopefully it never comes down to it. Though I imagine some triple option could be really fun with that. And Ohio State comes out of nowhere for the running back. You kidding me? We also miss out on Marciano. That's 2 big misses. Basically out of my ginger ale. Okay, well, we've got work to do then. The final week. Looking good for all them. Yeah, really surprised. And they got the commit without even scheduling a visit. That must have been like an insta-commit situation. Had to have been. Yeah, and it wasn't the hard sell we went with. That's unfortunate. They ended up getting a scheduled week 4 visit in anyway, so it might have been impossible for us to land him, but that's a blow, and we are currently locked out due to playing time for Jose Hack, so we're going to have to pull him off too. Not the week we were looking for. A week 4 visit in here for Warren. And we chose wrong there as well on the hard sell. Get the right one put in here, we hope. Hometown hero. That looks to be hometown hero. Still not a bad pitch for us, but is it going to be enough to see us through with that visit from Notre Dame? We do jump in front for Higdon, but it's a week 4 visit for Clemson. So that's also not looking very promising. Brand exposure and championship contender. House call, eventually. Not primetime player, so it's house call. I just got to remember which one that one was. There it is. House call with the +10. We got the visit in here, but we are still trailing Notre Dame and Penn State. Championship contender and pro potential. Probably hometown hero? No. Pro potential. Sunday player. Sunday player indeed. Will that be enough? We just sent a good number of players to Sunday play. Championship contender, brand exposure. Get all these hard sells put in here. Not making it easy for us, that's for sure. House call again, perhaps? Yep. House call indeed. Hunter, we should be getting no problem. Looks like we're going to get Dakota Saxton. So that part's at least good. Tobin, good jump there as well. So we still are going to get one receiver. We missed out on the running back and the DT. So let's see if there's any more good running backs left. And running backs should really want to come here. Problem is if there's any of them left. Down to 3 stars. North-South blocker, contact seeker. not looking extremely promising. Some East-West playmakers. What are we looking at? There is Von Beck. He did run for almost 900 yards last year for Wake Forest. And that's the only option. Okay, then. DTs, what do we got? I need to change my search. DT, give me some speed rush. They're a little bit more rare. That's because there's none of them that are available for us. What about some power rusher? There is some options here. Andre Iguenagu? What do you guys think? That's a Google one for me for sure. Take a look. Also take a look at Scroggins as well. Any last spot where we may need to ensure we've got somebody? Corner wasn't locked in. Take a look at what's left in the corners. Got two of the top options on there. It's just not for sure we're going to land either of them. Frederick East, another field guy. Him to the board. Field. Go with the field guy who has 4 interceptions. All right, Von Beck, you're our last option. 98 speed, 98 acceleration. The abilities aren't as good, but he's got some top-end speed. He just would have to be someone we would have to get the ball to already out in space, which I think would be fine on some of those triple options. And then for some of the more standardized carries from shotgun or stuff like that, we have Devin Naylor. I think that would work. Just having that speed option is a real big threat. All right, Andre Iguenagu. Decent strength. You know, he's got some power to his game, got the grip breaker, decent speed. I just don't feel like that's a separator over anyone we already have. What about Scroggins? 81 with the power. Yeah, it's the same thing. No one's separating there. What about Yeast and Griggs? No. Jalen Griggs. Doesn't have the press by any means. Has some robber. But he's just not going to separate from anyone we already have. We still got 4 spots open. Has anyone just been left alone here? And we could swoop in. There is Noah Rudolph. Pure blocker. People are interested in him, so that's not going to be easy for us by any means. Another tight end here who does have some interest. Right tackle interest. You know what would be easier? Who doesn't have an offer? Anyone who's a 4-star and doesn't have an offer, that'd be a little bit easier for us to take a look at. 4-star. No offers. Well, there's 3 and they're just not interested in us. That's unfortunate. So it doesn't look like there's actually much we could do here. Just take a look over at the high school guys. There are actually 5-star guys who don't have an offer from anyone? And why can't we go after them? Oh, well, that guy's signed. And that guy's in a position battle. That makes more sense. How are they in a position battle if they're not signed? Or don't have an offer? That doesn't make any sense. What about 4 stars? There are some 4 stars available. What do you look like here? Daryl Ash, another gadget type. That seems to be it. Okay, then. We added another potential receiver, Daryl Ash. What do you look like? He's got some decent speed. Decent route runner. We might need a backup quarterback, so who knows? Toss him onto the board. And anyone need a visit? Actually, both these guys can come on a visit. Wouldn't really be complimentary by any means, but do it. Championship contender. Ash. I don't feel like it would be smart. Where are we at with that other receiver? I mean, we are the only one who's looking at him. Why not? We'll bring in Daryl Ash. He's had a sad recruiting band here. Also championship contender. There we go. That is our last bit of recruiting we're going to have here in the Kent State series. It's a little bit sad. We already missed out on a couple guys. We're looking to bring in Dalton Ware. Wow. Try that again. We're looking to bring in Dalton Warren, Mike Higdon, and that one is not looking very promising. We are trying to make a comeback here on David Sokol. Got the visit, put in a hard sell. David Dogby, looking to bring him in as a potential starter at safety, a new punter transfer. And perhaps a new receiver in Dakota Saxton. A edge rusher for depth, Spencer Tobin. Potential running back rotation in Von Beck. And Daryl Ash, the high school kid. There's also a gadget, and who knows, maybe he plays a little bit of some quarterback. That is it. That is all of our recruiting now done here in this series. Are we going to get any of them? There was a lot of questions there. The fact that we're starting with Dogby doesn't seem very promising. We do get the punter. I don't know who Jay Spain is. That might be a high school kid. Yeah, I think these are high school kids. Barry Denson. Deion Soto, free safety. Yeah, those guys are definitely high school. Isaac Obert. Thomas Moeller. Enrique Rizzo. We do get Dakota Saxton. We do get Spencer Tobin. And that is it. So we had some guys, at least initially, choose elsewhere. Warren ends up going to Notre Dame, so we ruin their season, and they come back and steal, what was that, 3-4 players from us here? Von Beck. Higdon. Sokol also goes to Notre Dame. And Ash, at least in this screen, is showing UCLA. National Signing Day. We still, I think, had a really good class, but this transfer portal window was brutal. Warren, I wish we were, again, had the ability to see what the numbers were, what the difference was in the commit versus not the commit. I think that week 4 visit really did bury us. Week 4 visit as well. We ended up going down to number 3. We even went up and had the visit, but he still chose Notre Dame. Von Beck will not be coming here. He did get that offer in from Duke. And we will, however, be getting Daryl Ash. as a late addition. So that does still leave in a lot of questions, and I think some position changes might have to help us out at backup quarterback and second running back potential, or we go with the freshman. But we do finish with the number 8th class in the country. Ohio State is up there at number 2. Notre Dame still finishes behind us, despite stealing a bunch of our guys. Yeah, Warren was their number 3 player. So he probably would have been pretty high up for us. But we do get 2 4-stars, 18, or 2 5-stars, 18 4-stars, 6 3-stars, and the 2-star is the punter. Big Ten wise, we still aren't even in the top 2 there. So we only have 1 top 5 class in this entire series. But we've still brought in a lot of really good players. I don't know. What do you got? What are your initial reactions to that? Did we find anybody good? Did we fill in the holes that we had? Hard to say. 2 quarterbacks currently on roster, but I feel like we do need a third. 2 running backs on roster. And Nick Browning might just be one of the primary starters here for us. And at receiver, we've just got a bunch of different guys. Do I have any gadgets here? I do. Jason Lane. He is 6'1", 169 pounds, and he could play running back. In fact, it is a massive upgrade. He could potentially play a little bit of some quarterback. 90 throw power for the kid. What do these ratings look like, first off? Because I don't think he's going to get the boost into the starting spot for the receiver rotation. So carrying, 83. Ball carrier vision, 78. These will also improve. Break tackle is at an 80. Really good for the bottom of this roster here. Trucking, he's not going to do any of that. Does have some decent spin, some decent juke. Okay, what about... Where was the throwing ratings? Just route running. So it doesn't even show us in this field. Okay, what if we go over to the roster field? Now will we get everything? I need to know what his potential throwing ability is, because we need at least a third quarterback, and we just don't know. Okay. Now, technically, I could go into the edit player, but we're not trying to do that. That seems cheating. But I think we're going to have to change lane. Is there another receiver who won't be in the starting spot who potentially could play some running back? Doesn't seem to exactly be the case out the gate. So what would be more important for us then? A third serviceable running back or a number 3 quarterback who hopefully never sees the field? I think that answer is pretty self-explanatory. Backfield threat for Jason Lane. Now, his receiving upgrades, I think, will be capped with that change, because it wasn't the free first one you get as a true freshman. Saxton does come in actually our highest rated player at receiver. That's going to put a little bit more pressure. He's that star dev. Sternberger, what his starting capability is very much now in question. Very similar to what happened to DeAndre Lake. Right. I just don't think anyone else could switch over to quarterback. Did we have any athletes? We do. And this is where some of the running backs were, or at least one. And he's not playing quarterback. So we do have at least 4 running backs. Bill Towns, I believe, wanted to play some interesting pure blocker. 75 speed at tight end, that's a big no. Center is pretty low. Guards seem to be where he's best at. We'll just toss him then right guard. That's all the athletes. So, I mean, we might get a walk-on potentially at quarterback, and that would be okay. But that seems a lot safer, considering that we are going to use, at times, 3 running backs out on the field. And we still have a lot of receivers, a lot of tight ends. Drew Shields comes in only at a 72 overall. So this might be a situation where he's going to be put in specifically based on formations. In shotgun spread looks, I don't think we have the speed and acceleration with any of these other guys. I mean, Flaherty does, but he's the lowest overall. So I think Drew Shields is going to be a plug-and-play guy. And if he plays really well, maybe we just make him this overall starter. Make sure we got some balance here. Still think like we have to make a move at center. Maybe even at tackle. Raw strength has to stay on the inside. £281. That just feels a little bit more center-like. What would he drop down to? Jewel. Go down to a 79. It would be higher. Got Gregor McLean. That's a raw strength guy at center. Big boy, too. Also 79. That's not an option. Percy Apple. What is your pass block? Is an 82. I mean, these guys out here might actually develop decently enough impact for Dickerson. Apparently he started in 5 games and somehow got a pancake in it. Well, I mean, the ratings don't look that bad, actually. I think we'll be fine with some development there. I think what's lowering that awareness, or that overall, is his awareness. I do think we still have to make a decision here at center, because that pass blocking is bad. And I can't say the run blocking is really stepping things up enough. In fact, Barry Denson looks better. True freshman. Though he won't get any better, chance he will. Who do we think can move over to center then? I have a feeling it's Jewel. We're going to move Jewel to center. Give us another option there. And then in doing so, Hounds, who just moved, is actually going to go over to the other guard spot. I think that's going to give us the best average line across the board that we can pre-upgrades. Just looking at the pass blocking, yeah, I just don't think it would be worth it out there. Okay. Edge rush. Hardrick, Colombo, Cole, and Florence. I'll say that's a good little group there. But we do have a lot of options here. A lot of options. But no, like, super big. I mean, Steve Lee could potentially be an inside rusher. He's just under 300 pounds with 90 speed. That guy's a monster. So we know Lee's going to be the starter. But he's probably not going to be a starter in the base sets with that 65 block shedding. That opens the potential door there for Tobin. But Tobin is also just an all-around better rusher. Awareness is a little bit lower. Play rec is a little bit lower. Strength is a lot lower. I think we're just going to have to see a heavy rotation this year. Maybe that turns into something. Normally the right edge is more of the weak side edge anyway, so you look for more of the speed over the run stopping ability. There's a lot of guys we got. 6, 7 versus 4. So it's at least spread the love a little bit here. Send a couple of the power guys to the other side. I'll make it 5 and 6. Yeah, 5 and 6. It's a little bit more even. Now DTs. Obert and Mueller come in actually rather low overalls. So nothing to do there. Sam, we got 3. Got a whole lot of mics. 80. All right. Who looks good and could play over someone else? Feel like Chubb could play some weak side with that really high acceleration. Decent strength. Send him over to Will. That at least has an 80 at every spot. Again, this is also pre-development. Cornerback room. Doesn't seem like there's any additions for us here. Outside of true freshmen. But we're going to see who ends up taking that next step. And who's going to get the start here at free? Well, it's going to be the guy with 99 speed. So Dogby, you're going to head over to strong. It actually is a better spot for you anyway. Now, Hugh would die. Covered specialist, but not really that fast. Honestly, we just don't have a whole lot of speed at this spot anyway. And Abrams and Dogby can battle it out for who's going to get that starting spot. And if we're going more zone coverage anyway, Dogby has the better. Just Abrams, I mean, that is really good. And I'm wondering, is he the corner that we were looking for? He's just not super fast. Can that get any better? It get a little bit better. It's just not for sure. What would he be right now as a corner? 80 overall. I feel like that just puts him into the same kerfuffle that we already have. He'd be down here at 5. We don't have a whole lot of speed here at corner. That could be costly, depending on who gets the devs. Which, playing back in zone, I think would actually be better for us then if we don't have the speed. So defense is changing things up in the final year. And that change of direction from Neighbors is going to be pretty big for us. Realize I left that screen. I didn't fully check all the other positions. Double check to make sure we are all good at the last few. Yep, another new kicker. 3rd year in a row with a new kicker. We currently are at 91 overall. How high can we climb? That's all we could do there. On to off-season training results. Now I'm officially out. Well, what are we looking like here? We did get some more coaching points. Training results. Who's going to be the highest overall? Leave your ideas before we hit the screen. And for those watching not live, you can still leave your ideas. Just be honest if you're right or not. Training results. Our highest overall is Nick Barno with the +2. Hyman gets a +4 going into his senior year. We brought in Dogby. He's got a +6. +8 here for Keelan Kalu. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We almost have a complete starting side of 90 plus overalls. Del Griffin gets a +3. Let's break this thing down here. 91 overall quarterback, no boost to the speed acceleration, but he does get some better agility, and I didn't even think he was close to 99 there. That is super high. He doesn't move like it. He also put on 3 pounds in the offseason with now bronze downhill and option king. I don't think he had that last year. In fact, I think all he had is mobile resistance. All those got the green up, so that means they all upgraded. So he did get 2 new physical abilities. His strength is up a little bit. Awareness is up. Throw power is up to 96. Did we finally unlock the deep ball? The accuracies, they don't get any better. Throw on the run still, I mean, it's solid. Break sack +13. That +3 pounds did right there. Play action's better. Carrying is at a 97. Juke is at a 11 or +11, 99. 13. I wasn't using moves with him, but apparently I should have been. Break tackle is up to a 91. Del Griffin's about to go off this year. And everyone who said that we should have found a different quarterback last year, I don't know. Maybe you were wrong. Devin Naylor with the boost is up to a 90 overall. Lane, who we moved over from receiver, is up to an 88. +1 speed boost there to Naylor. Got the acceleration. Agility is also up to 99. 98 change of direction. 99 carrying. Break tackles at a 94. He's not, a moves guy. Although the juke is pretty good, so he's a little bit more elusive than Bruiser. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Injury rating, though, not great. Stamina, though, is good. Which, I mean, we're going to get some rotation there, so should all pan out. Good change of direction here. We're going to be a very elusive offense, it seems like, this year. Good break tackle there. Got the spin and the juke. Oh, yeah, we're going to get shifty. We're going to get shifty. Gone is the truck stick that never works for me anyway. Saxton with a +7. 97 speed. We got our deep threat. Now, what's the deep route running and the release? That was the question around him. Deep route running gets a +3. Altogether, the route running is extremely crisp. 88 release. We got a deep threat this year. 99 jumping. He's going to need that with 58 inches. 58 inches. Being 5'8", that's far more than 58 inches. Great ball carrier vision. Demetrius Willingham also jumps up to our second best receiver. He got a +8. So it's going to be Eagles then rotating in. I mean, the abilities, though, I think is a big thing. So Eagles is still going to be one of our receivers, but I don't think he's going to be on the left this year. He's going to be on the right. And Demetrius Willingham, oh, that's tough. That is tough. What does the receiver abilities look like? I mean, the hands are better with Willingham. You take a hit in route running. Release is similar. So what do you go with then? Do you go with the better hands or the better route running? In my head, I think if you have worse route running, you need the better hands. But if you have the better route running, you're going to need less hands because you're going to be working yourself open. And we use a lot of drags crossing routes. That's going to be tough. I think Willingham is still going to be the starter in the slot, but Eagles gets the start on the outside. Is that actual Z receiver this year? The release rating would also indicate that. I mean, it's slight, but I think we're also just going to heavily rotate this year. But Sternberger drops down because Ismail also gets a good boost of +9. Yeah, so Sternberger and Lake, they got buried. Our more physical types have not done well. But that also, I think, fits the offense. The offense isn't built for that. A little bit of last year, it just didn't quite work the way I wanted it. So we're going wide and fast this year. Rasmussen takes the top spot. I still think we're going to see some rotation at tight end, depending on what we're doing. We don't use a lot of tight end, but when we go spread, I think that's going to matter a lot. Because we don't have great receiving threats. Most of these guys, I mean, you got pure possession, gritty possession, pure possession. You do have a vertical threat in Flaherty, and he's the second fastest, but I still think we're going to go with the freshman in the spread packages. You get that +8 for Kalu. Well-rounded. Going to look to dominate out there with bronze pocket shield and option shield. Stitzer +3s up to an 88. Now, he was depleting guys last year, even in the postseason. He's got the golden workhorse, bronze for inside shield and ground and pound. And he does ground and pound. The big thing about him, and my only concern with having raw strength guys, is that lack of speed. Getting to the outside, that's why we don't run a lot of counters, a lot of power runs, because of that pulling. Center, Jewel does get a little bit of a boost. So does Chauncey. I mean, we've got some competition there. But in almost every category, even with the boosts, it is still Jewel. So Jewel will get the start there at center, which means we're going to have to change that 65. Center's got to have a number in the 50. Guard, +4 there for Apple. He did well for us last year. Platinum for quick drop and quick step. Yeah, he'll be headed to the league rather shortly. Gregory McLean will probably be our primary backup. Steven Dickerson does get the +4. I mean, it's not anything crazy. Bronze wear down. But the pass block ratings are just better. He's got good lead block there. He didn't really work on the run game because that wasn't a concern. We were concerned about the pass blocking. Dickerson worked on that. I'm good with that. Van Hardrick, +6. He got even faster. He got stronger. Put on 2 pounds in the offseason. And he's still going to be just a face down situation type guy. And Oscar Colombo is going to battle for some playing time. They get a little bit of boost there with the finesse. Got some good tackle ability to him. I think he's going to battle it out with Tobin for that other edge rusher spot. Steve Lee does get the +2. More power moves, +8 finesse moves. Yeah, he doesn't want to leave the field this year. I think we're still going to leave him in, even in the base packages. And then Spencer Tobin might have the slight edge, I think, over Colombo. But again, we're going to focus on rotation this year. And with that, we'll probably have healthier players for longer periods and therefore better pass rush. That's something we're going to try out this year. Hyman, as we saw, gets that +4. Gage, only +6. Put on 3 more pounds in the offseason. Hyman does have that platinum grip breaker golden workhorse. 98 strength. He's a big fella. Only 85 block shed, but it did plenty well enough last year. Good tackle ability, really big hit power as well. Pursuit got even better. And it's going to be him, Matthew Gage as the primary DTs in the base packages. And then Blunt will still seem to be joining the party as a pass rusher. Although, 94 power moves. Just not that much speed. Now that is interesting here with Evan Riggins. I feel like I'm going to have to figure out something with that. Like subbing him in manually inside the red zone, perhaps? Or if teams are going more spread, none of the strength. Does have platinum pocket disruptor, golden workhorse and hammer. We're going to have to see what Riggins does as that number 3 option. I mean, the abilities, 94. I think it's just nostalgia that wants me to keep Jaden Blunt, but he didn't perform as much last year. Again, we're going to go with some heavy rotation this year, so we should still see all of these guys, but I think Riggins is a surprising jump for me. That and Demetrius Willingham. Butts still does not improve. That's annoying. He's got impact dev, and in 2 straight years, he hasn't really improved. Did get a +4 to his strength, so he was hitting some bench in the offseason, I guess. +2 to his weight. Hit power got a little bit better with his pass rush ability, but the coverage didn't get any better. In fact, pretty much the same as a guy who hasn't even played in George Kiki, who's rivaling him for playing time. Still have to give the edge to Butts due to that awareness and play rec. Although that speed could be a big difference. We'll play it by ear. Jake Kaminsky, though, we know he's our guy. He gets the +1 there. Tackling improved, block shedding, his pass rush ability improved. Sneaky good pursuit down there. Another Riggins. I wonder if they're brothers. Detroit, Michigan. And Atlanta, Georgia. Nope. And then at will, Brendan Chubb. We got a new man in the mix here. Also, Terrence Yeboah. Could be fighting for some time, but I don't know. I guess it is Sam. You don't need to be super fast at Sam. Though that strength at a 73 is why he's over here. But Brendan Chubb. Got a new guy to add into the mix here. Good awareness, good play rec, both getting a +9. Good block shed. He's got some pass rush ability. Pursuit's really good. I mean, he's going to be battling it with Anthony Butts for that second sub linebacker spot. 84-72. The coverage is better initially with Butts. But we'll see if Anthony can hold his own this time, because he lost playing time last year because he didn't do as much a couple of years ago. Got an opportunity again. Yearby with the +7. Up to a bronze quick jump. Neighbors, I'm fine with him kind of staying that number 2. Probably want him staying primarily in the slot. So base package, I think he could be out there. But then when we go out in the nickel and dime, he does move inside. Because of that speed and acceleration difference, I just don't want to get burned as much as we did last year downfield. Again, changing how we're calling plays is going to be probably rocking a lot more the zone coverage. And I would say that's still probably the case. Jamison Brents is better with the man, but it's not like the zone is bad. We're not great with the press. Quincy Weathersby, I mean, he's right about there. Does have the gold jammer. The speed is a problem for the outside. Both of these guys could play in the slot too, but I mean, that's Neighbor's job. He's got the 81 tackle. Best or better hit power. Best is Weathersby. Yeah, we're going to have to see how the switch to man. We're going to have to keep an eye on 33 and 23. See who's playing better out there. But we do have a deep cornerback room. So if we need to make quicker rotations this year, quicker changes than last year, we could do that. Barno up to that 92. Super fast. Didn't get any smarter, but not bad. He does also get that boost to the man, which is actually better now. That's the unfortunate part. We didn't really have that balance last year as much. And we went with a lot more two high man, but now we could do a lot more single high, which is probably going to favor better rotation, because I don't like cover 2 zone as much, like Tampa 2, because it's easily beatable by corner routes or deep out routes or comeback routes. And I feel like teams abused that a lot more. But if we run a lot more cover 3 sky this year, and we could rotate in some cover 1 man, while still keeping the same look, but switching our defense around, I think that'll be much better for us this year. And we're not going to get beat as often downfield because we're going to have 3 deep most of the time. Yogby with that +6. Doesn't get any faster, unfortunately. I don't know, though. The coverage of Roland Abrams tells me this guy needs to be on the field. And he did get faster. I think Abrams is going to have to play some corner. Neighbors on the outside in the base package. We switch. No. I was thinking kind of like a 4-2-5 almost. Because 4-2-5 uses 3 safeties. But the safety doesn't play outside. I mean, who's to say we can't just make up our own game plan here anyway? But I feel like went the wrong way. I feel like Abrams has to see the playing field. The awareness is a little bit low, so he might not play as well as the ratings look. But 86 zone with 93 man. I mean, he's got some decent amount of press there too. I'm just thinking in my head here. I mean, even Barno could play down. It might be a little bit game dependent if we face a team who has like that star-studded receiver like Florida did last year, Jurgensen. Then we maybe move some of these guys around to specifically play against them. But the fact that we didn't really bring in any new corners, Barno could play some corner and Abrams can play some corner. So we're going to have to figure out how we see that rotation with the fact that one of our top corners has to play slot. Because I don't want 87 speed on the outside in anything other than a base package. A 4-3, a 46 defense, any of those. That's going to be interesting. I mean, it's not that Jamison Brents isn't bad either. If anything, these two are a better corner than Yerby. Even though Yerby is the highest rated, he's got good speed. It's that awareness and play rec that's really boosting him, so it'll probably affect the coverages more so and make it look better than the 71 awareness of Jamison Brents. This is when it would be good to have a spring game, because there's some things I think we would need to kind of mess around with as to who gets played where. And frankly, even Adai is a really solid rotational guy too. So we're going to be playing with a lot of rotation this year. A lot of rotation. 88 kick power, not great. So we're going to have to get much closer this year than in previous years. Unless we decide to have our kicker or our punter come do some kicking. He's got a leg. All right, well, we've got some things to look forward to in the new year. Now, we're not done here yet, but we've got some guys. And they were not guys that I expected to kind of force our hand and to change things. Custom conferences. Does anyone end up moving here? I prefer to move people out of, places where they probably shouldn't be. That's why in the ACC we got rid of all the West Coast teams. I think all of them are pretty even, though. Even here in the Big Ten. 12's even. Conference USA, even. Much smaller, but even. Yeah, they're all even at least. I'll hang here for a second, or you guys let me know. And We'll circle back. I'll check on a couple other things. Make sure we still got the 9. Yes, we do. Cool. Yeah, you guys let me know if anyone should move. And we'll go check on encouraged transfers and such. We do have to kick out 2 people. Well, no new walk-on there. Not going to get any of these guys out. Some receiver. I mean, part of me feels like we let DeAndre Lake go. It just feels a little bit rude at this point. We already got rid of a lot of our lower seniors. PT, we're not getting rid of Jaden Blunt. I would actually consider getting rid of these 2, but it doesn't let me. You might have to make a tough decision or 2. Yeah, because I just don't have any older guys just hanging around. Well, Tobias Watford, you're gone. That's one. We need one more. Does anyone volunteer as tribute? I feel like it's got to be a corner because we just have so many of these guys. And it's going to be Wilkins. 87 speed is just poor. There we go. All right, no one has declared for anyone to move, so we're going to keep the conferences as they are for the final year. We'll scoot along here. I'm going to show you before we leave what my game plan is to get that rotation for all these different spots. Because I have noticed in my series, I tend to really run down players' health that I rely a lot on, which I think there are plays that they could be rotated out that we don't focus on them as much. And I'm hoping that that change will actually do it for us. The recruiting board, this is the last year, so I'm basically going to be turning on auto recruit for us. So it's not going to be a big thing. But custom schedules. Start leaving your thoughts. Teams you want to see us play against. Again, this is the final year. So think of teams that we've had some competitions against. And it first starts immediately in the Big Ten. What a schedule. We start Oregon, Washington, Nebraska. So there is no figure it out game. It's just prove it. Now, I don't see Ohio State on this list. Can we get Ohio State in week 13? No. Okay, then. Week 6? I honestly don't think they'll even let us add them, which is going to be really unfortunate. I should have probably made that a protected rivalry, but I didn't want to mess with theirs and Michigan's. Yeah, we can't even add it there. That's unfortunate. So no Ohio State. The final season. Granted, I'm not sure if Ohio State ever beat us here in this series. Oh, just kidding. I'm blind. I wonder how many of you saw that and were waiting for me to figure it out. We have Ohio State. They're week 5. Okay, then. Well, I don't want to go against FCS. So who are some teams then? I don't have any of the guys that we played against originally available at this time. I don't think we really ever played against Colorado State. Marshall. Buffalo. Is Buffalo available? No? We had some games against Buffalo early on. And they're just not available. They didn't really give us a very fun last schedule here. We could get Bowling Green. That would probably be good. Go Bowling Green. And that is a home game for us. That is our senior day. 1, 2, 3, 6. Yeah. All right, so we got Bowling Green. Do we do Notre Dame? They stole a bunch of recruits from us. We've kind of had some battles between them. Obviously, Penn State. Is Penn State on this board? Yeah, we got Penn State week 6. Or 7. They're currently ranked 6. We do UNC again and try to beat our scoring record. What was it? 76 points we put on them? We were not the only team to do that last year either. Tulane. I don't think we ever really played Tulane. I feel like we go with a recovery week against Tulane. Got 3 straight home games here early. It's a good thing that we don't need to do much recruiting because we don't have very many open visits. And week 6 on the road. I wouldn't have mind playing Cincinnati at this spot, but they're not available. Ohio. I mean, we had North Texas at this spot. Just don't know what their overall is. Did go 10-3 last year. Ohio State did make it, or Ohio did make it to their conference championship. But right now, they don't seem to be a very high overall. What do you guys think? Do we go Ohio or do we go Missouri? They don't have the quarterback that they stole from us. How different would that have made this series, though? Go Liberty? No, they're really bad. South Carolina? Be a little someone new in there. UConn has still done fairly well for themselves. Like we go South Carolina, an SEC team in there. It's not a good SEC team, but it is SEC. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got Michigan State, Rutgers, Wisconsin, Indiana, Penn State, Ohio State, Nebraska, Washington, and Oregon, all in conference. So we got 2. We got 2, 3. Only currently 3 ranked opponents at the start of the year. Indiana and Wisconsin didn't have a great year last year. Rutgers did not. Michigan had an okay year. You all know Penn State. Ohio State, they only went 7-6 last year. Washington went 5-7, though they did give us a tougher showing. I mean, it's not going to be a super high strength of schedule, but I feel like that's a good one. What you call that good? We've been going here for about 2.5 hours. We'll look to start closing things out here shortly. And I will show as well, I will be turning on the auto recruiting for this last year because, again, we're not going to be doing any recruiting. This is the final year, so that is off the board, off the sheet. It's not in the scheduled things to take place. Now, I am looking for coach. I am looking for be under team. It is under team. Okay. Auto subs. I talked about seeing a lot of rotation, and we're going to look to do that this year. We're going to look for keep fresh. Get these guys back in. with 83. I'm going to see how that works out because we got 4 different running backs this year who could all see some playing time. I want to see a lot of rotation there. I also want to see some heavy rotation with our receivers as well because we do have so many. I like to see how they do out the gate. Tight end wise, again, we're looking to keep everyone fresh here. Offensive line, they're going to stay normal. Defensive tackle, again, we're going to look to keep fresh. I don't feel like we really saw that much rotation though last year. So let's even up the ante a little bit more. Something like that. Defensive end, we're going to do something similar. I want a little bit more rotation. Defensive ends are going to be out there a little bit more this year. Less rotation from the formations themselves. So hopefully that'll adjust. Linebacker-wise, I think we'll make another adjustment here. This time maybe not as harsh because we're not as deep there. Cornerback, too, we're going to look to keep guys a little bit fresher. Try something like that. Safeties as well. Go with that. And hopefully we'll see that actually do some more rotation. I am also going to try my best to put in certain players in certain packages and all of that, and manually input guys in certain scenarios of a game. I'm trying to do a better job of that this next year. But part of what I'm talking about is formation subs. Shotgun looks, I'm looking for some tight end spread, which I don't think we have too much of in this playbook, but there is some. Just got to find it. In fact, I might just put them in entirely in all of these shotgun formations. But this one, definitely. Rasmussen is going to get switched out with Drew Shields, the true freshman. I'm getting that speed out there. Interesting. Was this another receiver? It is. Okay. Yeah, there's some of these formations I haven't even used myself. Bring out Drew Shields there. So Drew Shields has himself a couple different spots. I don't think there's any of spread tight end in our pistol sets. Okay. That's what I was thinking with the tight end, and I'll go around and move some receivers around too if I feel like it's necessary to get them in the right spot according to the XC spot, slot receiver, all that. Or if there's a formation in general that I think it would be better to have 2 gadgets in rather than an X receiver, like maybe a tight set or something like that. But I'll toy around with that, and I think next time we will see a bit of a, I'm going to go ahead and get a quick save in here. But we will probably start with a few clips of practice, decisions that I've made, and then we are rocking right on into that Oregon game. We'll set up recruiting board. Again, we're skipping out on that, and I believe that is basically us done here for today. Get on over to the next screen just to ensure I didn't forget about anything. We already have a commit. We finally get an insta commit, and it's not when I'm doing the recruiting. Carlos Knowles, we welcome a left tackle from Nashville, Tennessee. Welcome in. We won't ever see you play. But that's it. Season is here. So we step into the final year of Kent State. This time we will jump into the recruiting panel here just to take a look at my school. With a 94 rated team across the board. How far have we climbed here? Where I think we started, it was like a 61, 62 overall team. You guys could double check for me if you want real quick, but just look at all the stuff we've grown. Championship contender, A+. Program tradition is even up to a B. Got a B+ for brand exposure. The stadium atmosphere is still awful. The campus lifestyle is still bad. I wish these were things we could actually upgrade over time, and I'm hoping they figure out a way to do it in college football 27. Academic prestige, yeah. I mean, some of these things we're just not going to do. Even athletic facilities is still really bad. And it says to improve these, have high prestige. I mean, we are a 4.5-star program, so it just doesn't improve. Conference prestige, we have jumped around a lot. Started in the MAC, went to the Big 12, then went to the Big 10. And at the end of it, dominated all of them. Coach stability, A. Don't know why that's not an A+. Coach prestige, A+. I mean, we have completely flipped Kent State around, but our work is not done. We want to repeat the national championship and in the same year win the Big 10. We did not do that last year, thanks to Penn State. So let's come ready to go next time. We've got Oregon up first. Again, I'll throw the schedule up on the screen here. We got Oregon up first, a ranked v ranked to get the season underway. Then we get Washington, Nebraska, Tulane, Ohio State, South Carolina, Penn State, Indiana, Wisconsin, Rutgers, Michigan State, and round things out with our final official rivalry game of this series. I want to thank you all for being here as well for how long the series has gone on. I believe this is officially episode 104. I'll have to see how many episodes we had of the Stanford series, but we are closing in on very similar numbers. But Coach Ty, he needs another national championship to equal that of his college coach in Coach Barrington, who also went on to win 3, if I'm not mistaken, Super Bowls as well. So does Coach Ty make his way, I should say, to the NFL at some point? Well, we'll see what that Madden game ends up looking like. Not going to make any sort of promises with any sort of Madden content in future Maddens because I want the game to improve. And it just simply seems to be getting worse. So I'm going to see what the next release looks like with that. College Football 27 will definitely be here. And again, I imagine we're going to be finding some more information on that shortly. Wednesday, we're going to break down defensive play calling and perhaps might even include a little bit of a nod as to what we're going to be doing next season here. And we start a new mini series on Saturday. With that, we introduce a new head coach. I've been leaving hints here and there. So far, no one has guessed correctly. So I'm going to leave you with a really big hint. This is a guy, our next head coach that is, who did not play any sort of top-end college football. He played at a smaller school in the Southeast, but primarily, he was a baseball player. And that is not where his journey began here on this channel. He came back to football, and he played, as I mentioned in the last stream, 3 years of football before calling it done. He returns. Where that's going to be, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, where he moves along to the way of College Football 27 head coach, we'll find out starting on Saturday. We'll be back here, though, first with Oregon on Friday. Thank you guys all for being here. We will see you next time. And for those watching after this was live, I appreciate you watching all this. You probably skipped around a little bit. I probably would too. Leave your thoughts on the recruiting class. Leave your thoughts on the corner and safety situation as well. As mentioned, we'll be back on Wednesday for a master class sooner than later. Until then, see you guys later.